Fresh on gloves, amazing. Caught them in the door, big old hole. Now that bit's going to get grubby. Grr. How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Build It, the channel where we celebrate people that actually get off their ass and build their cars. And we do a little bit of that ourselves as well. So today we are going to be sorting out the radiator core support, not on this 180, but on that one there. This is useless. Let's get it. Time for a new glove. So if we look at this one, I bought this radiator to fit in here because I was hoping that I could use the original fan and it would sit far enough back from it. And then the other idea was to maybe tuck it so it sat underneath here. But to do that for this radiator, this is actually out of a AE86. To do that, I would have to cut the bottom core support. So if you see the size of it, we would need to actually chop out part of that bottom core support there, which I don't want to do on this car because this car is a bit too nice for that. So what I'm going to do is going to figure out another solution for this, probably something custom made that can tuck underneath here. I know that Chase Bays do one, but I don't really want to use that one. It's not building it, it's just buying something. And two, it looks like you have to cut bits out for that one as well. So I want to build something that will actually fit in without any chopping required. But today we're going to focus on this radiator because we're going to fit it into this. Now, we have a totally different situation with this. Ignore this engine. This is just sat in here for the moment. We've got an SR to go in here. But the different situation is there's going to be a load more room here. So we could fit it here, but actually, I don't like the look of that. So, although this car will be functional for drift, I want it to look aesthetically pleasing in the engine bay as well, because it's going to have something a little bit special in there. So, what I'm going to do is actually sit this under the core support. Now we will have to chop down this bottom bit here, which is a bit annoying. Although there's some surface rust, it's fairly structurally okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to make this part here unboltable, and so the radiator slides in, and then we'll have some feeting down the bottom there for it to all sit into, and this will then go back on top. So first thing to do is measure up, see where we're going to cut, figure out how we're going to fix the two together, and then that will give us our starting point. Then we'll move on to the bottom part. Okay, so we've cleared off the slam panel and I've just marked up the spaces. So I've gone for the middle of the slam panel based on this point here. So there's one of those each side where this bit of metal is welded onto the rest of the frame. And I've measured the middle to there, which is here. I've measured the middle across this radiator, which is here. And then we've got our end points. But this isn't where we're going to cut, because where we're going to cut, we're going to have a bit poking out that we can put some captive bolts on to go down through. So we're actually going to need to cut a set amount across from that. So that's what I'm going to figure out now, how far across we're going to cut, and then start cutting into it. There, so we've got some nice clean cuts, which is what I wanted. It's going to smooth off the edges, and then start looking at how we're going to make the connection of the two together. Another added bonus to this is it's going to make it real nice and easy to get this engine in and out, because we've just got nothing in the way. Just pull the whole thing straight forwards. I'm usually a big fan of just actually putting everything on the subframe, which is what I'll probably do for going in anyway, and putting it up, but actually gives us more options, definitely. And also for spraying the engine bay, makes it a bit easier to get everywhere. Nice. So now the hole's cut, we've put the radiator in just to see how everything sits. As you can see here from how this lines up, we're definitely going to need to chop out some core support down the bottom there, but that's absolutely fine. And obviously going to have to work with something up the top here in terms of the radiator cap and the mounting brackets here. So I've used a trusty bit of cardboard and made a little template of what I want to put in there. So this is then gonna sit out and have two captive nuts in it. I thought about doing riv nuts, but the problem with riv nuts is that they raise the piece of metal because there's a lip that sits on this side. So a captive nut is going to work a lot better. And then we'll drill 2 holes in here and fill those with weld to hold it in place. So I've just got those 2 pieces clamped in there. I've already drilled the holes for what we're going to fill with the weld. Next up to do is to mark where the captive nuts are going to go. So probably the easiest way to do this is to drill the holes through the top support where we want them to be, mark it on the workpiece and then drill those and then put our captive nuts in before we weld any of this in, so we can work on it over on the bench as opposed to having to work at it at the car. So we cut the captive nuts in there, so we're ready to sort of bolt everything together and then weld up these holes here so that we've got a solid piece attached to it with our bolt on, bolt off. So the easiest way to do this is probably to bolt it to the slam panel, clamp that in place, and then weld our holes, and then weld up our spot holes. I've welded up these holes and now we've got our captives in place, so this is now supported completely by what we've made. You can see on the other side here, I've actually ground it down so it's a bit smoother. You can still see some of the marks here just where the weld hasn't penetrated properly, so I'll probably just tack another bit of weld on there and then smooth that down a bit better. But now we've got our removable piece that we can take out, and next thing to do is to start measuring up what we need to do with this core support here, what we need to cut out. And that leaves us with all of this cornflakes, bits of JDM-ness in here. So I'm going to get to getting that out and seeing if there's any good metal left. Okay, well, so I went a bit ham on it and took the whole of the back lip off as well, because it was just so rotten and stuff on there. But also, to get a good, decent lip, I only want to go up about as far as that bolt is there. So one, I'm going to need to find some shorter bolts for this. 2, I'm going to need to try and get this one out because it's sheared off on the bottom. So we're going to have to try and drill that one out. And then we'll have to straighten this bottom bar out because someone's jacked up on it at some point and it's bent in the middle part. So we'll straighten that back down. Then, and only then, can we build the bit that's going to go across. So we're going to have a lip that comes up, a metal sheet that goes across, and a lip that goes down and along that we can weld to this. So I'm going to get cracking on with that, and I'll show you once we've got the bit of metal made. So with a bit of help from my neighbour in the unit next door, we managed to get this bent with a V-press, and it's come out quite nice. So I've just tacked it in place to where we want it to sit. So the next thing to do is to drill the holes for where the standoffs on the bottom of the radiator are going to go in. So there's these 2 little standoffs here which will locate it, and I'm actually going to sit those into some rubber, or maybe I might 3D print just a little bit to hold it into, and then that will give us our location, and also bring the height down so that we're in the right position for the top to clear. Okay, time to try installing it for the first time. We've got our holes widened out a bit, and let's just make sure that they line up and our measurements were correct. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. Next thing to sort out is the radiator cap is going to push through the top plate. So what we'll do is we'll remeasure with this just to make sure that cap's in the right place. We've got the right center point. Drill the hole through with a hole saw. So it's a 51mm to cover, I think it's a 49mm hole there. Give us a little bit of flexibility, and then we can pop it on and just see how everything looks. Bad bit. Good sharp bit. Okay, not quite perfect. So a couple more things to adjust and tweak. The first one is that there is a overflow pipe coming off here. We need to pop that off, because what we're going to have, hopefully, is the radiator sitting nice and flush to this with a little sort of rubber pad to keep it nice and isolated. And then that will poke through and come over the top, and hopefully it won't be too tall for our bonnet to shut. So we've also got this bit here, which is for the fan support, so it holds the fan in place. But I'm actually going to be putting the fan on this side, given there's going to be a load of clearance on this side, and it'll just look a lot nicer in the engine bay, and have a push type fan. Also, this one here, it looks like that's going to be a difference as well. Now, this engine, this will be perfect for, because we've got the coolant pipes are there and somewhere down there. I don't even know on CAs, but on the SR it's down the bottom here and up the top here, so we're going to be moving this port to somewhere over here. So I don't really want to start chopping the core support here just to get that to fit, but we might have to, just so we can get the rest of everything else lined up. We'll see. Okay, now we're cooking with gas. We've got it all buttoned in, so the top is bolted down. Radiator cap is through with the breather pipe there, or the overflow pipe. The other side is up. I just need something just to pull this up a little bit, I think, but we can sort that in a second. Bottom is all mounted in, so that looks good. And most importantly, I've just given it a try, and the bonnet does close, which is great. Might need to just clearance a little bit at the top here, just because I think it might be catching, but I can't really see at the moment. But when the engine's out, I'll get in there and close it and have a look. But yeah, looks really good. So a couple more things to do. I want to just tidy up the welds at the top here, hold this bit in a bit tighter with some weld underneath, and obviously cap in our sides on each side here. So I'm going to do that. So while I do that, you watch this video of my cat, and I'll see you in like 5 seconds. So I'm pretty chuffed with how that's come out. It's tucked away real nice, and I'm really happy this radiator cap here doesn't protrude onto anything and hit the bonnet. Next thing we're going to do on this car will probably be two things. One is mount an oil cooler, nice and simple. We'll just weld tabs onto some L brackets onto the bottom there, and mount it on the front. I don't want to mount it onto the bash bar because, well, that needs to come on and off nice and easy. And the other thing is tubbing these arches. So I'm going to literally cut out everything on this arch here and tub. So we'll do this side first and then move over to that side and do that side as well. And that'll all be in one video. So that'll be the next video we probably do on this car. But all going well, fingers crossed, next time we'll be working on Chappie, the Silver 180SX. and doing some RB bits on that. So fingers crossed all the parts come in, and that will be good. Thanks for watching, guys. Really appreciate if you made it to the end, and please do hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and a big favour, if I can ask it, is just to share the video, or the Instagram, whichever you want to do, but just share it to your Facebook or whatever. Really helps. Means the videos tend to get twice as many likes when just a couple of people have shared them. So really appreciate if you can, and I will catch you next time. Hey guys, thanks for watching, and here's 2 more videos for you to have a look at. Please click through because it really helps me if you do, and it's probably better than what's going to play next anyway. Probably some guy who's bought a gear knob and some stickers and has made a video about it. So if you want to see stuff get built, click one of these buttons.